All right, guys. So a lot of you folks think about making the move to Boulder, and you're probably doing your research, which is what we always tell you to do. It's a great thing. Make sure you have a plan going forward. Make sure you have a plan going into your move to Boulder, Colorado. But I think oftentimes when we're doing that research, we can get caught up into maybe some inaccurate or maybe some information that's built to kind of get a rise out of us. And we can cut up in the rumor mill a little bit, right? So today we're going to be talking about 3 big rumors that we've seen floating around in kind of the real estate space in general, but certainly here in Colorado and in Boulder about folks who are looking to move and some things they should be aware of. Let's stick to the rumor mill. It doesn't mean it's all wrong, but it means it needs, some context and some things to take a look at, right?
Definitely some attention.
Yeah. So what's rumor number 1?
So I'm going to say my number 1 right now is rates are as high as they've ever been.
Yes, the sky is falling. The sky is falling.
In trending, if you look at it year over year, they are a little bit higher than they were, let's say 3 years ago. Sure. Yes, that is true. Mm-hmm. So that's where that comes from, is that people are thinking about 3%, 4% rates, and now we're at 6%, sometimes 7% rates, depending on what kind of program you're talking about. Right. But rates are not as high as they've ever been, number 1. Number 2, what are we doing to try to mitigate that? Now, the Fed sets the rate, and that's how rates are all done for cars and auto loans and credit cards, and I won't bore you with all of that, but it is to a 12-person panel that does the Fed rate, okay? Now, this last time, they decided we're going to keep rates where they're at, and what that means is that they're not going to go up, and they're not going to go down. We're just going to keep it level where it's at right now. Average rate right now is probably 6.875 for a 30-year fixed mortgage. Sure. Okay. Now, what are we doing to alleviate some of that pain? Number 1, we're offering the 1% temporary buy down. Yes. So if the regular rate's 6.875, guess what? That first year with me, 5.875. So that should make you feel a little bit better about that. Number 1, right? Number 2, rates are changing on a daily basis based on the market, and we may get another Fed cut here in the next 3 months, okay? Right. So 9 out of the 12 that vote to either raise or lower rates, they actually voted to lower rates, and 3 of them voted to keep them going up, right? So at this point in time, they're just going to keep it in the middle. But if we get more of a 6 and 6, we might actually see a decrease in rates by the end of the year. Now, that's not a promise. I don't have a crystal ball. No. If I did have a crystal ball, I'd be in Vegas.
Right, exactly.
Okay? Unfortunately, I don't. But what I can tell you, rates are not the highest as they've ever been. With me, you're going to get a 1% temporary buy down. And buy the house right now. If you saw one of our other videos where we talked about purchase price and leverage, if we get seller concessions, we can buy that rate down.
Right.
So that 6.875, you might be able to get down to 5.875 for that first year, but you might be able to get 5.875 forever by utilizing seller concessions to buy the rate down.
100%, guys. And we've talked about this time and time again. Like, yeah, rates are a bummer right now. I'm not going to beat around the bush, especially relative to what they were just a handful of years ago. Or if you do have a house to sell in the state that you're moving from, you're probably in a pretty solid rate. And it's maybe going to be a big sticker shock to jump up to something in the mid to high 6s like we're seeing right now. However, there's a lot of things that come along with that sacrifice, right? So we're no longer, from the real estate side of things, typically speaking, having to compete and end up going above asking, right? So most homes are closing, I would say at asking to even a couple percentage points under asking, right in that range, versus just a handful of years ago, they were going, maybe the other way, a couple 1 to 3 points above asking. So that's a big savings over the lifetime of your loan right there, right? Additionally, we're not having to waive or limit inspections. So your home, not only is it being delivered to you in a non-competitive manner, maybe a little under asking, but it's also being delivered to you in an acceptable manner. So a lot of the repairs that you maybe would have to take care of out of your own pocket later are being done ahead of closing and hopefully being done ahead of warranty and all those good things if you're being protected well by your realtor partner. And lastly, I think, and Henry can speak to this too, appraisal was a big concern back in the day, right? Because we would have to compete so hard that oftentimes we would spend a lot of time justifying our overbid asking here, to the appraiser to make sure that the home is getting sold comfortably, because the appraiser is going to give you, what it appraises for or the contractor value, whatever's lower. Right. And so I think we're seeing a lot less of is those appraisal issues popping up.
No appraisal issues. I haven't had one come back yet, knock on wood. And if the appraisal comes in lower than the sell price of the property, then that money comes out of your pocket, whatever the difference is. So let me give you an example. If you say that you want to buy a house for $520, but the appraisal comes in at $510, that gap between $520 and $510, you have to pay for that out of your own pocket. So just keep that in mind, that that's not happening right now. You're not going to have to worry about that issue. And with this man right here, I have no doubt you're going to get the house for the right value.
Let's go work it. All right, so number 2, and this is your favorite rumor, and you just love that it's out there in the universe. I absolutely need 20% down to buy a house. If I don't have $100,000, I can't buy my $500,000 house. I just can't do it.
With this gentleman right here, he may get you some seller concessions for 2%. And if he gets that 2%, that will cover most of your closing costs, and you may be able to get to that house for less than $1,000.
Yes, sir. And then VA veterans like yourself, right? Their potential down payment is 0.
Potential as out of pocket for a VA loan is 100% loan, and seller concessions pays all the closing costs, and they may be able to get to a home for 0 out of pocket.
Yeah, and if there's one thing, guys, that I'm very confident in that we have a solution for, it's going to be down payment related, right? There are so many really, really incredible programs depending on your job, your military service, what you're moving here for, whether you've owned a home before, there's your family status. There's 1,000 things that can deliver a really great assistance with their down payment here to make getting into home easy. It's about having good strategy to make sure we can stay in the home and live comfortably in the long run. But that is the one thing I'm very confident there's almost always a solution that's palatable to help out with down payment assistance to get you in the door.
Always. But your situation is unique. So it's important that you talk to us early so that we can figure out what we need to do. We'll formulate a plan, and then we'll execute.
100%, man. And rumor number 3, and this is probably the one that we both get probably in equal parts, I would say, is, is now a good time to buy? Or maybe the more direct result of the rumor is, if I buy a house this year, I'm going to be upside down next year. My home's going to be worth $500,000 less, and I'm going to be destitute, right? It's almost certainly not true. Now, there are people who have unfortunately just maybe got caught in the transition between the peak of COVID time and where we are now, especially if they bought an attached property, and especially if they bought a condo that's attached, that they are in a little tighter spot. Now, fortunately, generally speaking, those people are in pretty favorable mortgage rate situations. So usually it's manageable, right? And you are going to see a given amount of increases in things like short sales, but it's still hyper uncommon here in Colorado. I think I have been associated with 1 in 10 years of doing this, right? It's just not very common, right? Now it does happen, so don't, hit me in the comments, but it does happen, right? Now, that said, the best thing to look at real estate, in my opinion, especially if it's going to be your personal home, and we're not looking to leverage this into some sort of rental flow, cash flow situation, or if we're not looking to flip, those are whole other conversations. But if it's going to be your home, it's got to be a more longitudinal look at how we invest, right? And we're very fortunate in Colorado that even if you look back the last, I want to say it's 50 years, and you chunk them up into 10-year separations, the average year over year change in value is about a 4.5% increase year over year if you chunk it up like that in 10-year returns, right? And look at it a little more longitudinally. And that does include the 2008, 2006 issues when a lot of the country was seeing going upside down. So the worst Colorado saw in any individual year was about a 2% decrease in value in that 2006, 2008 range. But year over year for a 10-year,
on average,
it was about a 4.5% increase. And it's incredibly tight, guys. Those 10-year separations are the highest 10-year area was about 5.5 on average, and the lowest was 4.2. So we're seeing that very, very tight, predictable increase in growth. And Boulder has been even more insulated than most of Colorado as well.
Absolutely.
So if you're looking at it from a longitudinal perspective, you're going to be okay. Will there maybe be some lean years where, if the rates haven't quite gone down enough and we're having to make sure we're fitting into our budget? Yes. But the good thing about working with a good lender partner and a good real estate partner like myself and like Henry is we're going to make sure we have that built into your buying plan, right? So there's things we can't predict. I unfortunately can't predict what taxes are going to do or what insurance is going to do, but we can build in some wiggle room in there. We can make sure that we're not going to have any huge surprises. And again, we'll say it time and time again in our own channels, on our videos together, have a team, have a plan, execute the plan, and you really can't go wrong when you do it that way.
Absolutely. I mean, the numbers over the years just don't lie. I am a numbers guy. That's what I do. And based on the numbers that I've seen over the history of the national appreciation in the U.S. over the last 50 years, it's up. It's always been up. So, yeah, are we going to have some lean years? Maybe. But here in Boulder, pretty insulated. I don't foresee that happening. And here's the other thing. let's say that your house doesn't go up 4% or 5%. It only goes up 3%. Well, you still love the house.
Yeah.
You're living in the house. And although it's a financial tool, it's not the biggest thing that you need to be worried about. What I would be worried about is just ensuring that I'm keeping the house in a well-kept manner to ensure that when I do go to sell it, I get the highest value for it.
100%. Stay on top of your maintenance. Stay on top of your little things that's easy for you to do. Henry and I, whenever you buy from us, every single buyer and every single seller gets a free home warranty as a gift from us for 14 months. So I think it's a really great advantage tool. I bought one for myself when I bought my house about a year and a half ago. Every single buyer.
Every one of my houses.
It's worth the investment for us to protect you. So I think that's another big tool in our hat. So again, the rumor mill guys, there's going to be more rumors out there. There's plenty of them, but those are the big three. Yes. And to kind of overcome some of that, I hope even you guys some peace of mind. And don't forget to overcome some of the challenges here. You get a 1% rate buy down with Henry, and you get a free home warranty with our team. So I want to hear the rest of the rumors, guys. Go ahead and whisper in our ear in the comments here what rumors you guys are hearing out there. We'll do our best to answer each and every one of them. And if you're looking for some good, honest opinions, some great advice, and moving to Boulder, Colorado from out of state, go ahead and hit subscribe. Go ahead and hit subscribe on Henry's channels, and we'll see you guys next time.
Awesome. Thanks.